Prostate cancer is one of the most common diagnosed cancers in men across the United States, as well as one of the deadliest, according to the CDC. Now, being that September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, we want to raise recognition about the importance of timely screenings and early detection. Hi, everybody. I'm Kendis Gibson, your host for today's discussion, coming to you from the Baptist Health Newsroom. Today, we're joined by the Chief of Genitourinary Medical Oncology at Baptist Health Cancer Care, Dr. Rohan Garje. Great to have you here, Dr. Garje. Appreciate it. And we also have a cancer survivor, Michael Justiz. Happy to have you here with us as well, Michael. Thank you guys both for your time and the insight that you will provide during this discussion. But before we dive into today's subject, I'm going to remind our viewers to send in your questions as well as your comments in the comment section throughout the discussion. We're here for you, and we're happy to answer any of the questions that you may have. Michael, I do want to start with you, though. Prostate cancer not only affected you, but it also affected many of your family members over the years. So I'm sure you know the key is early detection for a lot of people. When did you start getting your prostate checked?
Actually, I started in my early 40s. Okay. I knew there had to be a line that I start, and I chose then, being that I had a family history, and I actually lost my grandfather on my mother's side to prostate cancer. So I knew that it was something that I had to be very alert about, and I started. I was pretty religious about it. Every year I would go get my PSA checked, and yes, I have to get the digital.
The digital being the more physical aspect. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. So and it's just part of the regime. And if you want to take care of yourself, and I have a family. I have 2 kids. I want to be there for them, be there for my wife. And, you have to follow through. You got to take care of yourself.
And it still doesn't help that you found out early. It's still a terrible diagnosis once you hear it, especially knowing that you have 2 kids and a wife as well.
Yeah, when I heard it, it was like nothing made sense for like a few minutes. It was just bouncing in my head. I heard this ringing in my ears, and it's like, you're trying to process it. It's a hell of a thing to hear from your doctor.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was not unexpected. So you just have to march through and keep doing what you have to do. Take care of yourself, take care of your family.
Yeah, and Doctor, why is this one in particular considered one of the deadliest cancers that are out there? Are men not going to the doctors early and getting this checked out?
Prostate cancer is one of the top 5, deadliest cancers in men. So it definitely, the biggest aspect of prostate cancer is if it is identified at an earlier stage when it's restricted to the prostate, it's curable cancer. But, if it is not detected in timely fashion and if it spreads, unfortunately, it becomes deadliest. And we have seen, especially, to look at the trend, in the last decade or so, the screening frequency has gone down, which was potentiated by the pandemic. And now we are seeing the repercussions of that. We are seeing folks who are being diagnosed with a little bit more advanced than just restricted to prostate. And this potentially is the reason, once the cancer spreads beyond the prostate or beyond the regional aspects of the prostate, then it definitely becomes a deadly cancer.
I'm curious about one thing about all of that, because over the years, we've heard about so many people, famous people, who've gotten prostate cancer. John Kerry, a number of different people, and they've survived it, gone on. Some have kept running campaigns at the time and gone on with life as is. Is that kind of doing an injustice that where you have all these success stories and you don't hear the stories of, say, like William Hurt, the actor, Academy Award-winning actor who died of prostate cancer come last year? Is that doing an injustice to spreading the word about how dangerous this is?
Yes, and it's important. So it's a spectrum. The cancer is a spectrum. So there are definitely lethal cases where, I'm being as a medical oncologist, I always would think, I wish you were diagnosed early, you would have not been in this situation. I have several examples where, to segue into the pandemic situation, people were very religious getting their screening until 2019. They gave up in 2020, 21, and now they're seeing me with advanced cancer. If they continued their screening, they could have identified at an early stage, taken care of the prostate and cancer, and moved on. Now they're dealing with advanced cancer. So it is very important for folks to be aware about the prostate cancer. The biggest fact about the cancer is it can be identified very early, and there are treatment choices which can take care of the cancer. So it is, I think this month really is, important for us to promote about the cancer, and especially for the folks who are economically underserved, or they don't have clear resources to reach out. I think it's important for us to increase the awareness of cancer in them.
Yeah, I want to get back to that in a second. But Michael, I want to talk to you because, I have some friends who have done prostate cancer, but it came back roaring several years after their treatment. It's not a done deal once you've gotten your treatment done, right?
There's a window that you have to go in, and they follow up, for 5 years. Luckily, I was able to catch my cancer early enough that it was not as dynamic as it is with other guys who get it later in later stages. And with me, it was pretty much just kept to the prostate itself. But I mean, as the good doctor said, if you're not paying attention, like that, it can jump from the prostate and get into, because basically there's a lot of connections to the rest of the body down there, and it spreads pretty fast. So that's why I'm always preaching early detection.
Yeah, no doubt indeed. And early detection, especially in African-American men. According to the American Cancer Society, I believe Black men are 70% more likely than white counterparts to get prostate cancer. Why is that?
Yeah, it is definitely a big challenge for us. There is no one specific thing we pinpoint to. Is it because maybe there were, the genetics is number one we talk about. The second thing, additional other factors, lack of proper communication about routine screening, some sort of distrust about getting screening for cancers. Or, there's so many untold factors, environmental aspects, lifestyle, health habits, which can all accumulate to cause higher incidence. And it is not only higher incidence, actually, higher risk of death in African Americans compared to counterparts, So definitely it's very important to bring this awareness that we have this new screening tools, we have this easy to access screening tools to identify cancer early. And if we identify the cancer in an earlier stage when it is restricted to prostate, the different treatment modalities, once you go through, you lower the risk.
Is there an age range where it's different, like say for a white counterpart versus a black counterpart?
So in general, the way we follow the guidelines from American Cancer Society, so for an average risk man, we start screening at age 50. But if there is a high risk in the sense African American origin, we plan to start at 45, and if there's a family history, there are different spectrums of family histories. If there are very high risk family members who have there are multiple generations, everyone diagnosed with prostate cancer, we favor to start screening at age 40. So it's anywhere between 40 to 50 based on the risk. And the screening is fairly straightforward. We do a simple blood draw called PSA. And it also can be added upon with the help of additional digital rectal exam.
Yeah, and you were well aware that DNA and genetics plays a key part in this.
Well, the funny thing is odd thing is that a dear friend of mine was going in because they had their kids and he was done. Okay, so he was going to get snipped, and he was young enough, early 40s, 42.
Yeah.
And he went in, he goes, "Hey, have you done your prostate exam?" He goes, "No, I haven't." He did it, and the doc goes, "Uh-oh." And it turns out his entire prostate was completely encapsulated in cancer.
Wow.
And they caught it just before it burst out. And as the good doctor says, once it's out, it's a hard beast to battle.
Wow.
And so that's why early detection. And he just by chance, he 42 found out.
I mean, as you mentioned, so much is connected when you're down there. So it makes complete sense that while the doctor was was snipping him, that they've kind of found that at the time. Dr. Garje, while prostate cancer can be difficult to detect solely on the symptoms, are there any noticeable signs of it at all?
So most patients, have asymptomatic prostate cancer. That is the reason for screening, but it also does present with symptoms. Folks will have difficulty urination, dribbling of urine, narrow stream, wake up several times at night. Sometimes they have pain, sometimes pain with ejaculation, and rarely they can also notice blood in semen. Okay. Those are the common symptoms we ask for patients. And also rarely, when it has spread outside of the prostate, we look for any random bone pains or weight loss or weakness.
You didn't notice any you just did not get to that point.
Nothing. I had noticed nothing with regards to that. Yes, as with any, you get up once or twice during the night, depending, because I drink tons of water all day long. Yeah. But I never thought anything like that. And son of a gun, that's why you got to just pay attention.
Yeah, that's the key. It may be asymptomatic in many men. So that's the reason. When we have an easy screening tool, it should be utilized in the optimal way.
Yeah, and cancer treatments really can differ significantly based on the person, based on the cancer, the level of the cancer. What treatment options did you look at for your personal experience?
Oh boy, I was, being a writer by nature, I did tons and tons and tons of research. Yeah. I mean, thank God for the internet. And I went to several places first. Several institutions that we have down here, talking to them, and then I had heard about MCI had just opened up, and I got a hold of Dr. Fagundes, went in there, and they happened to have a piece of equipment that was brand new. In fact, there were only 3 in the country, and I'd read about it, kind of like, oh boy, I wish one was down here. It's called the MR Linic, and we had it in our own backyard. I was like, wow, sign me up, I want to do that. And it was a game changer. That's a serious piece of technology, and they, only a few institutions had it. We were just very lucky to have it down here in South Florida.
Yeah, well, that is one of the options. Yes. What are some other options that you have down here?
For prostate cancer, especially at Miami Cancer Institute, Baptist Health Cancer Systems, we do a multidisciplinary approach where we make sure our patients get the best care. So we work as a team. We have a team of radiation oncologists, surgeons, and medical oncologists who team up, come up with the best strategy. We have new imaging tools. We help diagnose the cancer better, stage the cancer better. And then, when we have a patient who has a cancer restricted to prostate, we give them the options of radiation with all these new tools, with different kinds of fine-tuning the radiation so that the cancer is attacked in a best way with highest amount of radiation without collateral damage. At the same time, we also acknowledge choices of other patients, and other equally good options are surgical approach. The approach for surgery has evolved phenomenally from open surgeries decades ago to very precise robotic surgeries where patients recover fairly quick. They go home within a day. So these both, we have excellent tools. So that's the big thing, we can help screen for cancer, diagnose patients who are at risk with high-risk cancers, and then give them these good tools of either radiation or surgery, making sure they get the best outcome where the cancer is taken care of with minimal side effects. That is the key. We know there is a lot of concerns where a treatment can come up with its own side effects. By using this precise technology with either radiation or robotic surgeries, we can minimize those side effects.
Back to the technique, how invasive is the testing process itself? With colon cancer, you're drinking a drink for a whole night, and it's a whole process. For prostate cancer detection, how invasive is it?
So fortunately, it is as simple as a blood draw. You go for your routine health checkup with your doctor. In addition to your blood work, lipid panel or cholesterol workup, you do additional blood draw. So it's one blood draw. It gives you all the information with regards to the PSA.
Okay.
Some folks also offer rectal exam, where they feel the prostate for any abnormalities, and that could also be a quick office tool. And there is no big preparation involved apart from a discomfort of a finger sticking, but generally it's fairly quick process. So I think it is not too much involvement for the patients where it can be done in a doctor's office.
Okay, well, let's check out some of the questions from some of the viewers, and they include apparently can prostate cancer be prevented?
Now, the prevention, because it's a cancer of aging, right now there are no preventative mechanisms, there are different measures which can, as we are screening, that is the big tool which I want to go back quickly again, saying that, though it cannot be prevented, but it can be screened early and identified early.
Okay, and another one, and I guess this varies on the person and the extent of the cancer. How effective is prostate cancer treatment? It was fairly effective with you.
Very effective.
Yeah.
Again, early detection helped me get an effective treatment. That's really important.
Yes.
Can you put a percentage on that or no?
Yeah, so based on different stage, we have a cure rate after surgery or after radiation as high as 70 to 90% based on different risks.
Yeah.
And so this is phenomenal numbers compared to what we have had several decades ago or years ago, and it's getting better and better now.
I'm curious about this. Say you're a white guy with a family history of prostate cancer versus a black man. Who's more likely to be more susceptible to prostate cancer?
There are two factors involved in it. You're right. There is in African American men, the way we see the cancer, though it may be localized to the prostate, has high risk features. There are several factors we weigh in how the cancer looks under the microscope, how various patterns are. So the evidence has shown that African American men may be a little bit higher probability of having a recurrence risk or a different outcome than what generally is expected with the prostate cancer.
Were you going to weigh in there, Michael?
No. I'm actually listening to the good doctor because like this is all information I share with friends and family. And just it's up to all of us to kind of like back each other up and say, hey, just get checked out.
No, absolutely. You mentioned it's one of the top 5 deadliest cancers with men. How does it compare to other cancers?
So currently, lung cancer is the number one life-threatening cancer. Followed by, in women it's breast, and then we have colon cancer, pancreas cancer. So this is one of the top 5 cancers. The incidence is highest. Just to go back on the numbers, in US we diagnose about 280 to 290,000 cases of new prostate cancer. Wow. And about 40,000 deaths due to that. So this is just United States statistics. And then number of people living with prostate cancer is much higher because they get treatments or they got cured and they need follow-up. So the several million people right now living with prostate cancer. Fortunately, a lot of them have been identified early and taken care of. And there's a fraction of patients where it spread and they're getting treatments for that.
You mentioned breast cancer. With prostate cancer, there's no self-detection. There's no checking yourself or having a buddy check or whatever.
So paying attention to the symptoms is one way, to identify it. If someone is noticing changes in their urinary patterns, it's important for them to talk to their primary care doctors.
Okay,
but I think I should mention one thing though, because the friend of mine that I told you about that got detected, it was through the digital because his PSA was normal.
Okay.
It had not shifted in years. It was, I think in the low ones, and yet he had cancer completely throughout his prostate.
Wow.
And it was like this close to being, released into the general population of the body, and which is, as a good doctor knows, that's a scary point.
And really quickly, he's okay?
He's okay. Yeah, he's living with it now.
Early detection.
Living post prostate cancer.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you both. This has been really a great conversation. We thank you for sharing your story and sharing your insight on all of this. And remember, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your channel here to keep up with the latest health and wellness information and tips from our experts. You can also connect with us on social media channels, of course, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And check out our resource blog for the latest news, baptisthealth.net/news. You'll find a link there to all of the episodes of the Baptist Health Talk podcast as well. On behalf of everyone at Baptist Health, stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching.